Let's have fun.
That's what I came here.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Concord Band Holiday Pops. First, a couple of brief announcements before we begin the show. If you have a cell phone or other electronic device, please switch it off now, as it will interfere with our camera and recording equipment, and also with your fellow audience members' enjoyment of the show. Please take note of the nearest emergency exits. There is one on either side of the drama stage, one on either side of the music stage, as well as the main entrance in the lobby. And if you have not already purchased a lot of your raffle tickets, we will be selling them at intermission. And if you have already purchased raffle tickets, please buy more. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Well, good evening. Great to see everyone. We're almost back in full swing, and we're glad you could join us. This is going to be a fun evening. You're going to hear some new music that we have just recently purchased and are excited to share that with you. And I'm glad that Nat did his announcing duties, because otherwise I was going to tell you to silence your devices, but I don't have to do that now. So we're going to continue with something we did on our October concert, which was a tribute to Ralph Vaughan Williams, his 150th anniversary. And so just a lovely symphonic, very musical setting of Greensleeves. And feature a number of various soloists in the group, and I hope you enjoy it. You can see why Smith named that a symphonic setting. It was really quite an interesting combination, some harmonies. We're going to go on a little toboggan ride. And this is a fun piece that I just discovered. It was composed by a tuba player. And I'm a tuba player, but that's not why I chose it. It's a fun piece. It'll start really kind of as if we were kind of heading out through the snow in the car still, not on the toboggan. It's a cold day. It kind of feels a little crystal ice in the air. Things are very clear. And then we finally get to where we're going to start the ride. So we hope you enjoy the toboggan. We're going to continue with a piece that was written by Ennio Morricone, the theme song from the film The Mission. This was a 1986 with Robert De Niro, Jeremy Irons, and Liam Neeson. Won a Golden Globe Award for Best Original Sound Score. And we're going to feature our principal trumpet on this for the first his first appearance of the evening. He'll come back for the second half. And would you please welcome Rich Given. You'll hear more of Rich in the second half. He's going to be playing on a different trumpet, though, on an E-flat trumpet. This next piece is another new work that located, and Gaudete is Latin for rejoice. So this was best describes this joyous holiday piece. It's a 16th century melody. You'll hear a lot of intense passion that is counterbalanced and contrasted with calm and relaxing resonance. Hope you enjoy this. I do want to remind you that during the intermission, we will have the 50-50 raffle tickets available out in the front in the lobby. And as you probably noticed as you came in the front door, we will gladly accept donations in our donation box. There's also a donation box in the lobby. There's no amount too small or too large. So please enjoy this closer of the first half of our program, and we'll see you after the break. Now we're going on a sleigh ride, but not the ultimate sleigh ride, which happens at the end of the program. This is a wonderful arrangement from a Prokofiev suite, and originally it was actually arranged for jazz band, and then the two arrangers of that were approached by someone, Finegan, I think, that wanted to do a concert band arrangement. So this has got a lot of percussion in it, and they're doing a great job back there. Enjoy Midnight Sleigh Ride. We're going to take you back many years for this next composition. Johann Hummel, Trumpet Concerto in E, was written December of 1803 and was performed on New Year's Day in 1804. This was to mark Hummel's entrance into the court orchestra of Nicholas II, and was written specifically for a Viennese virtuoso, a keyed trumpet player. The original trumpet that kind of evolved out of early music and Renaissance was the natural trumpet. And so this had no valves, and it actually had some of them, and Rich might correct me on this, they kind of operated a little bit like a trombone, some of them, but it was all done in the upper partials of the instrument, and everything was done by lipping and bending and things like this. So the Anton Wiedinger, and I massacred his last name, was actually invented the keyed trumpet, and this was well before valve trumpets were even in existence. But the keyed trumpet was more kind of an accurate of an instrument because it had keys, pads, and it was a little bit more reliable. We're going to do the third movement of the concerto, and we will bring Rich back out, and he might tell you a little bit about the trumpet he'll play. So here comes Rich Given.
Should we talk about this one? Sure. Okay. Well, there's some debate as to whether or not Hummel wrote this piece in the key of E natural or E flat. So tonight we're doing it in the key of E flat, and this is an E flat trumpet. It's slightly shorter than the instrument that I just played on the last piece, which was a C trumpet. And you can see that the lead pipe actually folds right into the third valve here. Now, valves were only invented around 1812, and before that, the keyed bugle came into play for about 22 years, but the sound was so funky that they really weren't very happy with it. The sound was actually coming out of the keyholes instead of the bell. And before that, there was an amazing renaissance of trumpet playing back in the time of Bach and Handel and all of the Baroque composers on natural trumpets that had no valves. And there was some amazing music written for those instruments, which we still try to play today on what we call piccolo trumpets, which are about half the size of this. They're very tiny little horns. But the E-flat trumpet has kind of a unique sound. And I also have an E trumpet, but for band, I think the key of E would be a much harder key to play it in. So for band, E flat is a better key. Orchestra, probably E natural would be better. So we're doing it in E flat. Hope you enjoy it.
This is the rondo movement. Third movement.
This E-flat trumpet happens to be a kind of special instrument where you tune with the bell. You lengthen the instrument by using the bell to lengthen the instrument instead of a tuning slide on most trumpets. Let's try that one more time.
what Rich didn't mention, but you obviously heard, that piece requires a number of different types of tonguing techniques. So besides just a single tongue, what we call in the brass world single tongue, there was double tonguing, very fast, and there was also triple tonguing that you heard on the triplets. So he can do it all. Really great performance. Great to have him with us. We're going to continue now with a piece everyone knows very well. This was an arrangement done by Floyd Werle, and he was the staff arranger for the Air Force Band for many years. This is Carol of the Drum. we'd like to now feature some music from the Hebrew people and Hanukkah. And I usually include the various songs that are in these various arrangements. And like the third movement of the Hummel that I left out of the program, I forgot to put the various songs, but I think they'll be pretty familiar. So let's enjoy this. Hanukkah is here. As anyone that is a regular attendee of our Holiday Pops concerts, you know we have a number of traditions. We decided to abbreviate a few of them, only a few of them. Obviously, we don't have the cafe tables and the kettle corn tonight, and the other ginger ales being served by our wonderful little elves. But we'll slowly, I think, find the right time to get back to that. But it's really great to see you. But one of the standard traditions that we do have is we put the audience to work for a sing-along. And we're happy to have Catherine Denny lead you and us, because I follow her. I hopefully will follow her on this It's Christmas sing-along.
You ready? Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh, over the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, let get spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Christ the Lord. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled.
Well, you definitely ranked very high in audience participation. Thank you for that. I hope you enjoyed it. Now I have to go to work. The easy part. From time to time, the Concord Band recognizes, through its Lifetime Service Awards, individuals whose participation over a very long span of time has made a fundamental difference to the Concord Band. Only 13 have been given, and at our Holiday Pops concert, we recognize contributions that usually, though not always, span much less time, but they're very important nevertheless. Most often, organizations recognize members' achievements with awards in the form of plaques, gold statues, and crystal bowls. The Concord Band, in the spirit of the season, gives out humongous candy canes, one at each Pops concert. Our first recipient has served on the board in previous years as treasurer. He set up the Concord Band blog and always keeps the content current. He keeps the band looking sharp by coordinating the summer shirt orders, and more recently has been designing and providing the posters for each of the concerts used for publicity. And over the summer, he rebuilt the band website to give it a more current look and feel. If you notice, the program cover was Santa, saxophone. He was just elected to serve a new term on the board, and in his spare time, he is an integral member of the saxophone section, playing on alto and soprano saxophone. Please give a big hand for David Southard. Our next recipient has been volunteering so quietly and competently for the years that few people are aware how these key functions are actually accomplished. He managed the database of the Concord Band contracts needed for postcard mailings and to track financial donations. While we have had additional sound help for concerts when he isn't busy in the trombone section, this recipient also serves as the band's in-house sound engineer, keeping the microphones needed for rehearsals, working on other sound effects such as the playing of the recorded piece we had at the Ray Williams concert and other recordings. Would you please give a warm round of applause to Mark Vincennes. In 2022, we have had some critical band volunteers that have served remotely. Since I'm sure they are watching, everyone, since I'm sure they're watching by live stream, we wanted to thank them with a virtual candy cane. We'll email them a candy cane certificate at a later time. John is the holder of those certificates. This recipient has served on the band's board in previous years. For several years, she hosted in-person board meetings at her home in Arlington, providing food for members. Later, she introduced the board to conference call meetings and that led the board smoothly into the Zoom meetings, which we currently have today. She often served a position she called concert wrangler, my favorite one, where she organized ushers, ticket takers, and other volunteers to ensure concerts ran smoothly. Long after she retired from playing the French horns in the French horn section, she continued as an emeritus board member and still leads as the band's librarian, making sure that the thousands of parts that we play throughout the year all get to the right musicians and are appropriately filed. She also worked on the process of getting the band's large music library into digital format. Liz, I hope you're watching, and we want to thank you. This is Liz Irvin. Our final recipient has been a member of the board, the Concord Band Clarinet section, and board member since 1975, often playing the E-flat clarinet. Over the years, he has served on the board in many roles, including as president. He was president when I began my tenure here. He worked with the 51 Walden and the town's building inspectors to design audience seating charts that we still use today. Most recently, he has taken on the role of treasurer, which is no small task. Last year, during the pandemic, we had broken into small ensembles and had new logistical challenges with coordinating rehearsal space. And this recipient negotiated extra rehearsal space and managed the master spreadsheet of the rehearsals to coordinate it all so all the ensembles got the rehearsal time they needed. Please welcome virtually and thank you, Charlie Leroy, for all your work. Charles Leroy. And now, the 50-50 time. Yeah, so you need to get out your tickets. And this is the first time we've done a 50-50, but I'm sure all of you that bought 50 tickets know exactly how this works. We take the entire 50-50 ticket proceeds, and one lucky winner tonight will go home with half of that pot. 250. Is that the total?
That's what the person will take home.
That's half, $250. $225. Whoa, we could have lost that there. And the winner is, okay, drum roll, please. Thank you. I've never done this one before. 597056. I'm going to read it again. 597056. All right. Come on up here. John, we should do this by the book. It's the first time. All right, big hand. Congratulations. So there's a first for the Concord Band. We did a 50-50 raffle, and we recognized 4 humongous candy cane recipients, well deserved. So stay tuned. Now we'll do another sleigh ride, but one you're all familiar with. And you'll hear, of course, the whipping, the cracking of the whip, and at the very end, who could miss not have the winning. What happens when you turn your back on them? I can do something too. I didn't have this last night at the dress rehearsal. So. There we go. I don't know if you can see my mistletoe. And read this. It says, pucker up. Thank you very much. As you probably noticed, we have a number of cameras located throughout the hall, and we have been live streaming our events for 4 or 5 programs now over the past couple of years. But this is never possible unless you have a great crew working for you, and we always have a great crew. The person you don't see behind the camera, but he's behind that curtain, he's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. His name is Barry Muir. Barry is the producer and director of the live stream and the recording that we produce. Streaming director Nikki Mikashi, streaming director, very important. Our audio engineer is up in the booth behind us. His name is John Day. And our camera operators are Jen Amlaw, Bryce Denny, he's up on the perch there. Liana Denny, she's over there. Caroline McGinn, is that Caroline over there? No, back there, maybe. And Alexa Rindisbacher. Thank you all very much. I did want to plug one other thing. We are trying to get as many of your emails to stay in touch with you. There is a clipboard on the out in the lobby on the what we call the bar, but it's out there. And please, if you'd like to know more about what we do and we can keep in touch with you, we'll be very conscientious about not blasting you with millions of emails. And we have we're trying to develop that list. The other thing I wanted to invite you all to is a special concert. This is a first for the Concord Band. We're joining forces with an organization of a producer, and it's called We Star Productions. And this is going to be a New Year concert, a musical concert featuring unbelievable musicians. We're going to have 3 really fantastic operatic singers sing with the band. The first half of the program will be a kind of a smorgasbord of performers of quite the ability and artistic ability. This is going to be on Sunday, January 8th in Cary Hall in Lexington, so that'll be a fun place to go, and it starts at 6:30. So we'll be sending out more constant contact information about that, but if you can mark your calendars or look for it, it's going to be a terrific New Year concert, celebration for the New Year. Hope to see you there.
Thank you for coming to our concert today. We wish you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and the very best New Year possible.
Thank you very much. You're a great audience, and it just gives all of us warmth in our hearts that we're playing live music for an audience again. Thanks again. Have a great evening.